The New York Jets are on the verge of something absolutely huge, as there has been a lot of discourse surrounding the future of the New York Jets well beyond this season, as it is the first year of Darren Mougey's tenure as GM of the Jets. So a lot of people are curious about what the future holds for the most important position in football, as there's a lot of questions about Justin Fields already, and we are going to break all of that down. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Jets Digest. It's Chris and Matt here. And guys, if you're not subscribed to Jets Digest, then really, what are you doing out there, man? Because this is the best place for all New York Jets content. So if you're part of that 69% that's not subscribed, make sure to subscribe to Jets Digest right now. But let's get into the video. We have a lot to discuss on the New York Jets. As Darren Mougey, he made a very good impression in his first NFL draft. There's been a lot of Jets fans who are very happy with the moves that Mougey made, whether it was drafting Mason Taylor in the second round or landing the final piece of the brick wall that is the Jets offensive line in Armand Membo. There's a lot to like about how Darren Mougey approached this year. And, well, a lot of questions were raised after free agency, after what we've said a few times on this channel, Matt. It looks like it's a bit of quiet tanking to a degree, or quiet rebuilding, I should say, because there's just been a lot going on with this team. I mean, the Brandon Stevens move, if it works out, it's huge for the Jets. The Andre Cisco move, you could say the same thing. And the Justin Fields move is just the epitome of big if it works. But if it doesn't, oh well. The Jets have done a lot of very high reward moves that could work or could not. It's kind of the island of misfit toys that many teams do when they start to rebuild a team, throw stuff at the wall to see what sticks. And that is exactly what Mougey has done. It's honestly what many good rebuilding GMs do. It's just a matter of if you're good at finding stuff that works or not. Well, let's say the Justin Fields move does not work, like both Matt and I project that it's not going to. There's been a lot of talk already about what the future of the New York Jets will look like at the quarterback position, and there's been a lot of discourse recently, and already Jordan Reed, one of the best tapped-in ESPN insiders, he projected the New York Jets to have the 4th overall pick next year in the 2026 NFL draft, where they would be drafting South Carolina Gamecocks quarterback Lanoris Sellers. Now, he explained this pick, Matthew, and he said that if the Jets are picking this high, they probably didn't have a great 2025 season, and that would mean they're in the market for a quarterback, despite another year on Justin Fields' contract, and that Lanoris Sellers' superb traits make him a contender for a meteoric rise up the board. He's a true dual threat, having passed for 2,534 yards and 18 touchdowns with 7 interceptions in 2024, while rushing for another 674 yards and 7 touchdowns. Sellers will have to improve his pocket vision and ball security, 6 lost fumbles in 7 games, but he has the physical tools that NFL teams covet. He reminds Jordan Reed a lot of Donovan McNabb coming out of Syracuse. Now look, Lanoris Sellers is someone who last year, Matt, as you mentioned, redshirt freshman season. It would be an interesting pickup if it works out for them. And Matt, funny enough, you're wearing a red shirt.
That is true. Now, one thing to take into consideration when looking at these way too early 2026 mock drafts, the order is determined by Vegas odds to win the next year's Super Bowl. So Vegas has the New York Jets with the 4th longest odds to win the Super Bowl. So Jordan Reed's not saying, he thinks the Jets are going to be bad. It's just going objectively what Vegas is predicting. So with that being said, if the New York Jets earn the 4th overall pick, that means Justin Fields had a bad year. Like there's no way around that. So the Jets would be looking for a quarterback. And fortunately, right now, it looks like this 2026 NFL draft is certainly projecting better quarterbacks than the 2025 draft yielded. And the guy that we're looking at today is Lanoris Sellers. This is someone who I saw a qualified mock drafter pick this guy for the Jets over Arch Manning. And he did that because he's looking at what Aaron Glenn has been saying and talking about how he wants a mobile quarterback, a guy who's a dual threat. And Arch Manning doesn't have the athleticism that Lanoris Sellers brings to the table. If you were asking me, I'd say you take Arch Manning, you don't think twice about it because they bring him in to run the ball because he's that athletic. Maybe he doesn't have the Anthony Richardson level athletic upside that Lanoris Sellers may have, but he's athletic enough for me. But let's talk about Lanoris Sellers coming out of the South Carolina University football team out of the SEC, plays against big-time recruits, big, fast, athletic, strong players, and he looks more athletic than all of them when he's playing, which is an insane thing to have out of your quarterback. He's also someone with very, very high-level arm strength. Is it quantifiably elite? Not sure I'm willing to go that far, but it is very, very good. Someone who is going to check every single box when it comes to an athletic profile. The dude is like over 240 pounds, tall guy, exactly what you're looking for when you're looking for a quarterback who can change the math in the run game. Every time there's a mesh between Brees Hall, who's probably, hopefully going to be the running back, between Brees Hall and our quarterback, when we have a athletic player like this, everyone, they are going to have to look twice at Lanoris Sellers. Just make sure he doesn't have the football, because they know if he still has the football, that he is someone who they got to take into account every single time. This guy is going to run a 40, somewhere in the 4.6s, which is not as fast as Richardson, but very fast for a quarterback. 6'3", 242 pounds. If you're looking for a dual threat quarterback, this is someone who you should be very excited about. And if the New York Jets are unfortunately this high in the draft next year, this is one of the top quarterbacks you need to be looking out for. We call it, when you come out into the draft and say, I'm not playing for X team, you call it pulling a Manning. So you have to imagine Arch Manning is going to do that when he comes out this year. And he's going to come out and most likely he's going to say, Browns don't draft me, Jets don't draft me. So he is most likely going to be off the board. I'm also not projecting the Jets to have the first overall pick, which is where, unless Arch Manning doesn't declare, which there's talks that he may not, if he does declare, the first overall team is going to take him. And the Jets, they're projected to be bad by Vegas, but they're not projected to be the worst. And I don't expect them to be the worst. So I think we have to look at that second level of quarterback prospect next year after Arch Manning. A lot of fun names. Lanoris Sellers, definitely the most fun name because he's the most athletic. And there's nothing more fun in the NFL than athletic quarterbacks.
I 100% agree with that, especially the ending statement. There is nothing more fun than athletic quarterbacks, and Aaron Glenn wants a dual-threat quarterback. He's made that very clear as the head coach of the Jets. He wants to be able to throw the ball, but he wants you to be able to take it on the ground as well. And as you said about fun names, just going to say separately, Lanoris Sellers is the most literally fun name to say in the draft right now. However, there is another guy with also a fun name to say, and we do have to bring him up as well, and that is Matthew Long. No, it's it's the idea that Cody Williams, a fan side, had brought up about none other than Garrett Nussmeier. He projected the Jets to have actually the top pick in the NFL draft and projected Garrett Nussmeier to be the guy. He said, this kid has special talent. Yes, he's got some Brett Favre-esque gunslinger mentality in his game. That's something he'll likely need to dial back a bit for the NFL. At the same time, he is a cannon of an arm. His pocket presence has improved by leaps and bounds throughout the 2024 season at LSU. He simply has a strong feel at every level of the field. The Jets could set him up if they are picking at number 1 and take him again. Now, Matt, if the Jets were to have the first overall pick and Arch Manning is to pull a Manning, well then, you have to imagine they'd try to trade back. Because there's no reason to be like, well, the first overall pick's supposed to be Arch Manning, but we can't take him. Might as well take someone else. They're not going to do that. They're going to start a bidding war, assuming Darren Mougey's smart. And if we could think of this, I hope that the GM of the Jets can. Woody probably
there's one problem with that. You would have to make sure you're high enough to where the person you're trading down with, you're still high enough to get one of the top quarterbacks. Because we saw this happen with the NBA draft last year when Alex Sarr said he didn't want to go to the Hawks. He didn't officially say it, but he definitely said it. And the Hawks, they stuck and picked the worst player. So
yeah, they then went on to pick Ricochet, and that didn't really. I don't think Ricochet's very good. But
dude, he's so good. They picked him first overall, and his ceiling is Michael Porter Jr.
Dude, his ceiling is a taller Danny Green, if you ask me. I'm not.
No, dude, that's what it said on the broadcast. It said this guy, he could be Michael Porter Jr. I'm like, oh. All right, bring it back.
Yeah. But in regards to the NFL, if you guys want to hear us talk about the Knicks Happy Hour, long-time running show is coming back. Not today. Probably the upcoming Fridays, you will see us live stream talk about the Knicks and just basketball in general, so make sure to subscribe to Knicks Digest as well as Jets Digest. But about football, look, where things stand for the Jets right now, say they do get the first overall pick, and Arch is like, no, I'll go to the Jets, I don't really mind, then they take him. If he pulls a Manning, they're going to trade back. And yeah, it's going to have to be, they'd have to find someone who's willing to trade back. But we just saw that happen. We saw, or not just saw it happen, but we saw the Panthers trade up to 1 for Bojangles Bryce Young. And in return, what happened, the Bears ended up with Caleb Williams. But on top of that, the Bears only traded back a few slots. Like, it's not like much happened. So
So the
it's
Bears,
possible.
the Bears traded all the way back to 9, and while this
Oh,
draft does look very
I
strong
thought
at
it was
quarterback,
3.
that's not going to cut it. That's
I
not going
thought
to
it
cut
was
it
the
when
3.
trying to find another quarterback. So right now, we have a group of like 5 quarterbacks that are looking like they're going to be that high: Arch Manning, Garrett Nussmeier, Cade Klubnik, Lanoris Sellers, and Drew Aller. And right now, the group of first-round quarterbacks always looks bigger than it's going to be come draft time because right now there's still potential. Like Garrett Nussmeier could turn into this. Lenore Sellers could turn into this. We're gonna have to see what they actually turn into over the course of the season. So I have to imagine the Jets, if they were going to trade out because Arch Manning says I'm not going to the Jets, they would only go down to 2 or 3. And if the team at 2 knows that you can get a really good quarterback and Arch Manning is not going to the Jets at 1, you probably try to call the Jets bluff and just sit there and see what happens. So that's one team that the Jets don't want to go down that far. One team doesn't want to trade up. So then the Jets are just talking to whoever's picking at 3.
Yeah,
And
3 and
when you're
4.
picking at 3, do you really want to just take the third guy that falls? They're probably just going to sit at 1 and take their second favorite guy behind Arch Manning, unless the second overall pick says, we'll give you our third round pick for this year or next year and come down 1 spot. Then it would make sense. Other than that, every GM has a story about in the draft how they got too cute and they missed out on a prospect they really liked. I think it would make a lot more sense for the New York Jets. Even if you can't have Arch Manning, just take the next best guy. Don't mess around when it comes to your future. The Jets have not had a future for a long time, but that's got to change here pretty soon.
Yeah, and just to make another quick basketball reference, I know the NBA draft and the NFL draft are completely different things. Like, it's not lost on me that the NBA draft is essentially you're flipping a coin. If it's not with the first overall pick, it's a 75% chance of working out. With any other draft pick, it literally feels like a coin flip until you get to like after 5, and then you're hoping for like a solid enough role player. If we're being honest, it's just people don't like to talk about that. But there's 450 players in the NBA and 60 guys getting drafted. Most of them aren't going to work out. It's a big secret that no one tells you. But with the NFL, that's not the case. If you're in the first round, you're projected to be a damn good NFL player. So it does make it definitely harder to do that. It's just a matter of I'd rather the Jets try to figure that out. But no, you're absolutely right. Team's second overall pick is going to call the Jets bluff, and then it becomes this thing of you have to try to get that third overall to convince you. You got to try to convince them, hey, you want Arch? Come get him. Because we can't take him, and obviously second overall is going to take him. So it's a matter of working that out effectively. Also, just be nice to kind of stick it to that second overall team. Hey, shouldn't have called our bluff. So it's
Well, I mean, they were right.
I know they were right, but still, then they don't get Arch Manning. So it's a bit of that's the thing, that you can't draft out of spite, and that's how things go poorly.
It's like if we're gonna lose, we're taking number 2 down with us.
Exactly. This is why I suck at Dynasty football. It's why I need to watch Best Baller more often, because that'll get me right. Subscribe to Best Baller, guys. You doing out there? Speaking of, guys, subscribe to Jets Digest. I'm gonna go watch a Yankee game. So, Matt, any final words?
None.
Well, in that case, like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and go Jets.